have you been inside of her?
2 years.
Clearly.
I said 2 years.
Listen, clearly, respectfully. How long?
2 years.
Okay, so story time. Even though that clip I just showed you is giving me major stage vibes, these things are actually real. And if you've been following me for a while, then you already know this story because I've told it like a tons of times on live. Alright, so boom, this happened in Haiti. I was younger. I was probably around like 6, 7, 8-ish. For those of y'all that don't know, it is a very normal thing when your child or somebody that you know gets possessed and you bring them to a church in order to try to get that demon out. Anyway, so the way my church was set up, the adults and the children were separated. Somebody in charge of watching the children so that the adults can stay by themselves. Anyways, I was with the kids section, sitting with the kids, and there was this new girl. Like, I know she's new because I don't usually see her in church. Mind y'all, she is sitting literally next to me. Right next to me. So I already know she's a visitor. Very nice girl. She didn't really speak much, but she looked like a very humbled girl. Almost shy. Anyway, so we're in church, you know, church is church, everything's happening, we're praising, you're dancing, praying, whatever. And then when it comes time for the pastor to start preaching, in the middle of him preaching, he says this. He goes, "There's something in here that is not welcomed." And I kid y'all not. The moment he said that, mind you, this girl is sitting right next to me. The moment he said that, that girl's head went like this. Like, no lie. It kind of caught me off guard, and I was just like, oh, okay, that was kind of weird. But, you know, she's probably just praying. Like, she's probably just put her head down to pray. And then the pastor goes on to keep speaking, saying, "You know I'm talking to you. Show yourself." And right after the pastor says that, this girl drops to the floor. Like, her whole body just plops to the floor. And she starts snaking around as if she's a snake. Like a literal snake. You see how snakes be on the floor just like this? She was literally just like that. Her whole body, she was all over the floor just snaking. So at this point, now we know who the pastor was talking about. Mind you, this is all happening next to me. Alright, so boom, the pastor gets off the stand and comes to us, like our section. Her family comes to her and stuff like that, like tried to barricade her or whatever. So then the pastor goes to the family, like asking questions. And the family like explains like, yeah, this is why we brought her here. We need you, like we need your help. She is possessed by this demon and that this spirit thing won't leave her alone, and it's like it's really taking a toll on our daughter, and we just want some help for her. And my pastor's like, okay, that's fine. So my pastor goes to her, right? And just like the clip that I showed y'all in the beginning, that's how it happens. Like, usually you interrogate them so you know exactly who you're talking to and how to handle them. Oh my God, part 2. Okay, so part 2. So the pastor goes to her, right? And at this point, we had to make like a whole circle around her because the thing that was inside of her, mind you, she's still on the floor like snaking, was trying to snake his way out of the church. So the pastor goes to her and says, "Stand up." I mean, we're in the house of God. You're gonna stand up if you're being told to stand up. So the girl stood up. And a couple of like the other pastors and the deacons, they're holding her back now at this point. When this girl opened her eyes to speak, you can tell that is not the same soft spoken, like the humbled little girl that was just sitting down. It was like a whole change. Like, it was her, but it was not her. Her voice definitely changed. Just looking at her eyes, you know you're looking at something evil. Anyways, so the pastor goes, "Who are you?" He says his name. This was a really long time ago, so I can't remember his name exactly. But he says, "My name is so-and-so. I am a snake demon." And then the pastor goes, "Where are you from and how old are you?" He says exactly where he's from. It was like a small village in the province in Haiti. And he said he was over, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he said he was over 800 years old. But it was a very long time. And then the pastor goes, "What do you want with this little girl?" If it's one thing, demons, even if they're in the house of God, they are cocky as hell, bro. So then he's like, she's mine. Like, I already claimed her. She is mine. I'm not giving her back. I don't care what any one of y'all in here says. I'm not giving her back. I already claimed her. She's mine. So the pastor goes, "How did you claim her? How did you even like get her?" So he says, "While she was dreaming, I put a ring on her finger." And that brings me to a point where I be telling y'all, do not accept rings when you're in your dream. Like, I know a dream is a dream. Sometimes you can't help the decisions that you do. But if you embed it in your mind while you're awake in your dream, you might be able to save yourself. Never accept a ring in your dream. You don't know who or what is putting that ring on your finger. That poor little girl is a little girl. She was around my age. So she accepted the ring, think she was just dreaming. Anyways, he says that in her dream, he gave her the ring, he put it on her finger, and that's how he was able to claim her as hers. And it was another thing too. He was also stealing her panties and like doing whatever with them. So like her parents would notice that her panties were going missing, but they just like, they couldn't figure out like how. And she was young, so they probably thought like she was losing them. Anyways, there he go again, cocky as hell, talking about some no, she's mine, I claimed her, I'm not giving her back, I already took her soul. So then the pastor goes, yes you are, like you're gonna give her back. Anyways, so long story short, everybody started praying. The pastor started praying over this little girl. Everybody started praying, and the more that we prayed, the angrier it got. When I tell you it got angry, it took so many people to hold down that little girl. Anyways, part 3. It gets worse, trust me. Okay, so at this point, like, we're all praying. Like, everybody in the church is praying. I'm praying. Everybody's praying. Y'all, I just want to add that it wasn't the first time something like this, like, happened at my church. But it was the first time where the person was sitting next to me. So I'm front row with the experience. So we're praying and the demon is screaming, no, I will not give her. I'm not doing it. She's mine. I'm not doing it. She's fighting the people, holding her back. I'm talking throwing punches and all, moving like a snake and everything. So then finally the demon says, all right, cool, I'll give her back. I'll let her go. But y'all are going to regret this. So at this point, nobody's listening to like, we're listening to him, like we can hear him saying this stuff, but we're still praying. Because at this point, like, we don't care what you're talking about. So the demon is like, I'm gonna give her back, but you will all feel my wrath. And the way she said it, like, it sent shivers down my spine, because I know he meant what the fuck he was saying. After he says that, he leaves. Little girl drops to the floor, and that poor baby, the moment the demon leaves, you can tell, because she instantly started crying. And you can tell that it's like a big ass weight lifted off of her shoulder. That poor baby, like, I still remember like how she looks. Like, you can tell it was just like a big ass relief for her. Like, she was going through it. But anyways, so we keep praying for her for protection now. That way, like, no demon, in case he tries to come back or any other demon tries to possess her, they're not able to. So we're praying for her. The pastor is praying for her and stuff. After that, church goes on normal as usual, and then church ends and everything is just normal, because this is nothing new. So whatever, we're getting ready to go home, and y'all know how when church ends, like, your parents just want to keep talking to each other and they never want to leave. So I'm waiting to leave or whatever. When we finally leave, we get in the car, everybody's leaving, we're all like exiting the church. This is where it gets crazy, because the moment we set foot out of the church's territory, from the church to about like 5 blocks or maybe more, it was terrible. When I say terrible, I mean terrible. Houses were on fire. Dead people were on the floor. It was like so many car accidents. When I tell you so many car accidents, motorcycle accidents, we're just driving past all of this and we're just all looking at each other like, this is what he meant, but we're gonna feel his wrath. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, he did damage and he did a lot of it. I remember just like the car driving and I'm just looking everywhere like, it was like out of a movie. It was like crazy. Everybody is just like, what the fuck is happening? Everybody's freaking out. People are on the floor. Couldn't even like say or do anything but just like pray for our own protection. But yeah, that's basically it. Moral of the story, don't accept rings in your dreams.